What up, you guys? Happy new moon in Gemini. I am so excited. So, with new moon energy, this is like the seed level energy for the entire month. So, this energy is going to be sort of like the mirepoix that we cook the pot of the month with. The mirepoix is like the flavor base of whatever like stew or soup or maybe like a Cajun pot you're gonna throw together. So this month is gonna have a lot of the flavors of Gemini. And so there's a lot of things going on up in the cosmos right now. So let me just take this slowly. I am feral. I've been out running around all day having fun and playing outside, and I went on a long run and I went on a long walk through the forest. So really been grounding and regulating my nervous system the past couple of weeks. And so I think this is really helping bring this energy through and clear up mental space. And you may have been feeling the same things. You may have been feeling like you are wanting extra rest, lots of water, things that soothe and regulate your nervous system and make you feel like organized within yourself and at peace within yourself. And I think there's so much energy going on that our bodies and our minds and everything is just trying to like channel it through, and sort of like, it's like when you're moving power through a generator and you've got all of these things plugged in and you have to balance your load, right? Or else you'll trip your breaker. And so that's kind of what we're doing now. We're like up leveling our generator so we can handle more of this energy coming through, more wattage. We're up leveling our instruments. So Gemini is a masculine mutable air sign. Gemini is represented by the twins because it's very dualistic. It's a lot like Libra in that there's like this double-edged sword aspect to Gemini. And Gemini on the like positive side is super gregarious. They are adventurous, they're witty, they're really good communicators. They're like timeless, they're charming, they're adventurous and curious. They love talking and communicating. They love learning. They love learning all about a person or about a subject. But on the downside, they can be a little bit flighty. And so like once they've learned about something, it's like they're always on the hunt for the next thing to learn. And so they can be a little unsettled. It can be hard for a Gemini to really get grounded and start putting roots down, because they're always wondering, is there a great like greener pastures? Is there another adventure that I need to like not, be ready for and not settle down? So it's really, though, when Gemini comes to a level of maturity that they can sort of settle in and commit to something and go deeper in the exploration, that they find the real fulfillment. And that goes with all kinds of like categories within our lives. So I have noticed that as I have been doing unblocking work, and if you've been watching these videos, we've been talking about this recently, that this is, we're in the middle of the Omer. And so after Passover, there's this period of time called the Omer, and it goes on for 7 weeks, like 49 days, where the soul is tested on every level throughout this period. And it is like a gift from the Creator so that you can fine tune your instrument to like up level into your next destiny, to make yourself more like God so you can have affinity with God and be in that bosom of blessing and harmony that when you draw close to the Creator. It's when we separate that we close off our vessel and like we cut ourselves off from the blessings. So what we like to do is try to fine tune our instrument, heal, correct, and elevate our consciousness and our soul and our heart so we can be more like God, more like the Creator. So during this time after Passover, when we've been delivered from Egypt, Egypt represents whatever keeps us enslaved, whether it be addictions or habits or ways that we hold ourselves back or self-sabotage, or even ways that we are inaccurate with ourselves, or we lie to ourselves, or being evasive to ourselves. So it exposes the ego and the clutches of the ego that the ego has on us, that prevents us from like sort of blooming into that version of our higher self in this life. So after the period of the Exodus, where we leave Egypt and we're like, oh, I recognize this, that I want to quit this, and I want to, heal from this, that I want to change this thing. We're all gung-ho in the moment, and then we cross the Red Sea and we're out, all the excitement is over after that. The big miracle is like, oh, we took the leap, and we burnt the bridge, or we decided to quit the thing, or commit to a better behavior, or commit to a better mindset. And then, when we're up against that whole moment where the army of the Pharaoh is after us and we have to walk into the sea, or else it's like death or oblivion, and it's like, we're tied up and, pushed up against a rock in a hard place and caught in a catch-22. We go for the miracle, and then after that, it's like, well, we expect everything to suddenly be different, but really it's like, no, we made the Exodus, but we're kind of in a void, in a limbo, in a wilderness for like 40 years, wandering the desert, trying to figure out what's next, rediscovering who are we. So it's in this period of this wilderness where we're like not there yet, but we're not where we were, where we're tested, and we're tested to go back, tempted to go back to the old behaviors, to the old self-defeating tendencies, to the old ways of the old consciousness. And this is where we get an opportunity to see where we have this like muscle memory in default setting, and where we're trying to like kind of go back in that direction. And it's like, it's revealed to us in these triggering moments, maybe over the past few weeks, so that we can see it so clearly and observe it and not look away, not feel bad about it, not judge it, not criticize, just really embrace it, like have a sense of humor with it. And the more we do that, it's like then when we recognize it, we're like, oh, I don't really want to go into that default setting. I want to make my own choice. And then we claim the ring of cosmic sovereignty, and then we can make choices based on free will, not just reactive consciousness, reactive behavior. So ways that we have more like mold our consciousness to be more like God, there's like these dualistic pairings of consciousness, light versus dark. There's cause consciousness versus cause consciousness versus effect consciousness. God is cause, right? Emanating light and creation and love that is always flowing, never fluctuating, and is eternal. And so this is a creative force, right? And nothing affects that. And God said, let there be light, and that was the cause that affected everything. So we are the effect. And in order to be more like the light, we need to be less affected by the outer circumstances and more able to cultivate a sense of peace and fulfillment and consistency within that is based on certainty in the Creator, and it's not based on the conditions that we find ourselves in from moment to moment, because those change. Those are up and down, up and down, up and down. But we need to be able to take our mood and our feeling and our attitude and our mindset and be able to like set it like a thermostat and leave it. And no matter what the conditions are outside of ourself, right, outside the house of ourself, our thermostat is set. And so we are a cool, easy breezy setting of trusting that things are unfolding for us and not to us. And that if we stay in that ease and that flow, we are like water, and the universe can like use us and move us and use our mutability, our adaptability, to then find the path of least resistance and connect us with our higher destiny. Okay, so Gemini, this is like, Gemini has a tendency to see things in a dualistic way. So there's this thing inside the Gemini, and it's true for the Libra as well, that there's like a cognitive dissonance, or like an inner conflicting desire, or like a stalemate in energy, where your thoughts kind of conflict one another, or your desires are kind of like in a conflict of interests with one another. It's like you want this thing, but you don't want this thing. It's like, I want commitment, but I don't want to like settle down and be bored, or like, suffocate. I don't want to lose my independence and not my autonomy, right? It's like, I want to have my own company, but I don't want the burden of like heavy responsibility and, strict discipline and routines, right? So what if I get a lot of money and I lose it all? That'll be worse than never having it. It's like we have all these like underlying beliefs that we don't realize that then set into motion these subconscious defense mechanisms that prevent us from connecting with these things that we have the capacity to do, we have the potential to do and create, but like we just haven't given ourselves the full alignment inside that we need to really be in the full faith that we can and already have that in some reality, right? So, Gemini, the more that we sort of transform our darkness and we become more awakened and we get to know ourselves better, and we become more self-aware, we start to have a more, we strengthen our ability to be decisive as opposed to indecisive. Back to the duality of consciousness pairings. So then there is creator consciousness, cause consciousness and effect consciousness, where we are either affected or we are the cause and we are not affected. So that the cause consciousness is more like the creator. We have creator consciousness versus destroyer consciousness. So what in our lives is building us up? What is creating more in our lives? What is creating more creativity, more fulfillment, more abundance, more value, right? What is adding to the value in our life? What is raising our value? What is raising our worth? What is deepening our value? What is deepening our worth? What is like deepening our wisdom and our, understanding? Those things. How are we investing in ourselves? Versus destroyer consciousness. What in our life is breaking down or taking from our resources or draining us of our time and our resources and our energy and our attention? Where are we being impulsive and wasteful, right? As opposed or also in parallel with that, I should say, creator consciousness it builds up, it builds other people up, it builds you up, it creates and it grows things. It is a lifting up. It's encouraging and inspiring and educating, right? It's expanding, it's broadening, it's opening up things for people, and opening up other, levels of consciousness for others. Destroyer consciousness is like, putting down people, shutting down their hopes and dreams, doing things that tear others down or hope for their demise or failure. This can be very benign. Like if a plumber, for instance, is in his state of creator consciousness, the plumber might be like focusing on getting work with property developers and wanting to put affordable, reliable plumbing that's going to be sustainable and durable in new homes, right? Whereas a destroyer consciousness and a plumber might say, man, I can't wait for the freezes this winter so everybody's pipes burst and I get a lot of gigs, right? So you see the difference, how both are just a plumber that's trying to have good business, but like the shift in the mindset can be very different, right? And so same with so then there is taker consciousness and sharing consciousness. And this is like, are you showing up trying to with a consciousness of what can I get out of this? What's going to be the return on my investment? What's in it for me? Tit for tat. I want attention right now. I'm, speaking so that I can get attention. Or is this a sharing consciousness, which is like, what can I give? What value can I share? How can I help others? How can I be of service? Is what I'm saying important, or am I better off to just remain quiet? Kind of thing. Like, am I reluctant to, be seen, but something needs to be shared, right? So that's sharing consciousness. Is what can I give? So there's this recognition of these dualistic pairs of consciousness. And so we are choosing the consciousness that is more of the light, more like the creator. And so the more that we put ourselves in that state, the more secure and sustaining that fulfillment and that peace becomes. And then the more it's like we seem to be co-creating our reality, and we seem to be aligning with like a higher destiny instead of maybe a fated path that didn't get written quite as desirably as like maybe a different version of the script. And so then there's also this element of being in the extremes in Gemini, where it's like oscillating from one extreme of consciousness to another. It's all in or nothing. It's like all or nothing attitude, or like extremes. Like I can't do this or I can. It's like I'm either not drinking or I am drinking. You know, it's like where like maybe there's a balance, right? So in the tree of life, there's 3 columns. There's the right column energy, which is the masculine, polarized, positive electrical force of energy. It's the column of sharing, of giving, of mercy, of blessing. Then there is the left-hand column of severity, of judgment. This is the feminine charge, or the negative charge. And this is where we go through process that is unpleasant to kind of like correct for the negativity, right? Whereas like the mercy side is like blessing and, you know, favor and grace. So we kind of oscillate, and within both of these columns are like varying categories of the human consciousness and the dimensions of consciousness of the Godhead, right? So these are the dimensions within the soul that can be vices when they're out of balance, but virtuous when they're in balance. And so when we practice restriction, it's like what we do is we try to restrict ourselves from going to the extreme in either end. And we try to have this neutral column consciousness where these things are all brought together and they are redeemed in discernment and understanding, and we're not we can restrict when we are triggered from reacting, and observe and detach and choose wisely. We can restrict ourselves from impulsively overdoing it, because there's also things going on right now in the sky. Our new moon in Gemini is also conjunct Jupiter, which Jupiter has just gone into Gemini, expanding all of these themes, just like it was just in Taurus. Now Jupiter has moved into Gemini for the next 1.5 years or so. And so Gemini is going to be expanded. And so if you have a hard time focusing and you have shiny object syndrome, then your ADD is going to be expanded too. So it's like we have to learn, like more than ever, to practice restriction, to practice focus, to practice self-mastery and self-discipline, so that we won't overdo it or be impulsive or get distracted and not be able to channel all of this imaginative energy coming through into our dreams and into our goals and into our purpose and into our talents. And so with Gemini, it's like all these ideas and these creative, like visions and creative ideas and messages and thoughts are coming through that we want to communicate and share. And so this is a great time for anything like artistic or creative, or like writing, video, communications, like all of that can be expanded. But so can your overactive imagination to get lost in dreams and fantasy and like daydreams, rather than channeling that with discipline. We need discipline right now. So we're also squaring Saturn. And so Saturn is here going like, all right, look to see what's going on, people, because where are you wasting your resources? Where can you tighten it up a little bit? Do you need to go to bed a little bit earlier? That was one of mine. I wrote that down today. I need to set a bedtime and a wake time. And it's not that I'm like such a night owl by nature. It's just that like my job is at night now. And so my schedule is shifted, and I'm making content like all throughout the day. So it's like, just like trying to squeeze in all these things, and I don't have a lot of time to waste, right? So if there's more things that I want to create, that means that I've got to like really squeeze my time. So I'm going to have to get really disciplined about my wake up time and my sleep time and clean diet and, batch cooking and having things routinely done in a disciplined way so that it's sustainable and the structure is there. So that's Saturn coming in, right? Like, do you, for instance, like with money, do you have the resources you need to bring in all of the things that you want that are gonna support this creative vision or your creativity? Because, you know, we need to expand our sense of fun and adventure too, in order to feed that need that Gemini has for intellectual stimulation and excitement and adventure. So if there's things that you've been wanting to do for a long time for your own inner child sense of play, and like things that you've just been craving in your soul, like we need to start incorporating those back into our lives again. You know, I love lights me up cooking, nature walks, baths, reading. I don't read enough. And so I've been meaning to make time to go to the coffee shop or to like go get a cocktail or something and have my like fun reading time set aside. But it's you have to get up even earlier to get ready to go out into the public and get the other things that you wanted to accomplish done too. So I get it, you know, I'm with you guys. Drinking more water, you know, just nourishing your instrument and making sure that your vessel is in a fine-tuned state to channel all the light that wants to come through, you know, so that you can have more energy and be, you know, more alert and clear-headed and focused during the day, that you aren't, so that you're more efficient and you're not wasting your time in, you know, brain fog. For me, I mean, like fasting during the day, I can't eat anything during the day and expect to get anything done or be focused. But now I feel so much better. I have so much more energy. In fact, I don't really think of food as something that gives me energy. Not in the moment anyway. It takes a minute. It takes it to be digested and then redistributed as energy. But like for me, the keeping myself light helps me channel easier. And it gives me more like lightness to go do all the things that I want to do through my day. Let's see. So we are getting more disciplined and more focused. And also there's a lot of activity connected with, I think we're also conjunct Venus. So a lot of like what, you know, the attraction of Gemini, and like the connection of what brings Gemini, you know, pleasure and beauty. And so like things that you love to do that get you, you know, excited about life and intellectually stimulated, we need to reincorporate those. Do you love cooking? Do you love listening to classes and podcasts and what, you know, whatever it is that stimulates that inspiration in you, the muses, gets the muses stirring. We need to sort of stoke and enhance that. Which also too, you might have like some kind of abundance tied in with creative expression and broadcasting that out into the world, because, you know, Venus rules Taurus. Taurus is really great at taking something and like having like a creative sense of what's going to be well received, and then making something with that and like making it fruitful and abundant and successful as far as like business wise goes. And then Gemini, like Venus is all about beauty and art and expression, and then Gemini is like putting it out there, communicating ideas, communicating the creativity. So that could come into play. And then there is a Venus star point going on, which is what I just learned today is it's almost like a new moon of Venus. It's like Venus getting like a reset, like a restart, like a new cycle of Venus themes starting. So Venus is love. It's romance, love. It's, you know, partnership. It's community. It's all of our friendships and relationships. This is our security, our abundance, the beauty of our surroundings, our connection with like our sensual delight in life, you know, our lust for life and our taste for, you know, the things of the five senses. So all of that is getting a reset. We can get a reset in our love lives. So right now is a good time to plant seeds in your mind by thinking, okay, what are these creative dreams coming through that my soul wants to accomplish? What fun activities is my soul craving that it needs to nourish its creativity and its spark and its playfulness? And then what do I want for my love life? What kind of new cycle do I want to start within my love life? And what are the goals that I want to see there? Like, what do I want that to feel like and to look like coming up? What do I want to create now from a sense of awareness and consciousness? Okay, let's get into the reading. We are going to do our Celtic cross using my straightforward oracle. This is my custom deck. It's made by hand. It's one of a kind. Eventually, I hope it's going to be available for you guys to buy if I can ever squeeze in that extra time to like type this in and get it published. Don't be jealous. So there's like a nuance with jealousy. Jealousy is the fear of losing what you have to someone else, but envy is seeing something that someone else has that you want, that you're inspired by. And so jealousy can be shifted in your perception. If you see that you're jealous, then what is your jealousy telling you? It's telling you that there's something either that you have scarcity in your heart and in your mind and in your consciousness, and then there's some insecurity there. So what is it that you feel that you're lacking? What is it that your soul is craving that you see someone else have that you want? Maybe that's a sign that there's needs that you have that are going unmet that you need to tend to. However, it could be just like shift your perception a little bit. Are you envious of this? Like, is this something that inspires you that you wish you had? Or is this something that you're afraid is going to be taken away from you? If you can shift it to thinking like, oh, this is something that inspires me and this is something that I wish I had, then it's like it can elevate you. It can give you a motivation to reach further and to go further and to make changes. And that can actually raise your consciousness. But if you are jealous and you're in taker consciousness and you're fearful and you're shutting down, then that's going to lower your vibration. So the card says, don't be jealous. Mirror, block, clue. Jealousy blocks you from receiving the very thing that you want. It is a contracting energy that shuts down and closes your heart. But jealousy can be a helpful teacher. It can show you both what you believe is possible for you, but what you feel you lack. This pinpoints the assignment. Being happy for others helps you attract what you deserve and what you desire. Awesome. Okay, so what is crossing us now? This is going to be the energy that is crossing us at this moment. Ooh, okay, so pay attention to your dreams. This is your nightly dreams. Pay attention to what your dreams are telling you. Record and interpret your nightly dreams. There are messages for you. Practice lucid dreaming, astral projecting. When we sleep, our souls travel into the astral realm for cleansing and education. Make your sleep space clean and sacred. Protect with salt and crystals. One of my favorite dream dictionaries is dreammoods.com. It's an extremely rudimentary website. It's basically the only functioning part of it, I think, is just the dream dictionary, the A through Z. But there's so many random like scenarios that you would not think anyone else has ever dreamt, and then it's in that dream dictionary. And then the like interpretations seem to be spot on usually for me, and that you can just wake up with slivers of memories and just look them up and you will get a lot, and then you'll start remembering a lot. But what messages do you remember from your dream? Was there anything that someone like said dialogue to you that stood out, or are there any landscapes? What did the dream feel like? You know, did it have a sense of foreboding? Was it happy? Was it positive? Did it feel empowering? You know, do you remember any colors or like a car, or what kind of cars? Were you on the interstate or were you on a country road? Like anything like that can help. But pay attention, because there is a whole, something is trying to be revealed to you. The creator is trying to speak to you in your nightly dreams. Keep a dream journal by the bed and write down any detail you can remember upon waking. What are the immediate intuitive feelings and insights, and interpret what you're getting. I like to hone in on that overall impression that is with you when you wake up. What part or parts of your life do you think the dream is speaking to? They may seem on the surface to be unrelated or disconnected, but they rarely are. You will gradually develop your own symbolic lexicon with spirit. Dreams are first to be applied to yourself and to be interpreted symbolically. Rarely are they literal or prophetic or applied to someone else. You'll learn how to decipher the difference. And some dreams are just regurgitations of the day or reflecting to you how you feel subconsciously. Some dreams can be deeply meaningful. Pray out loud for guidance in your dreams from the creator before you sleep. Write down everything you can remember. Yeah, before I go to sleep, I always like to pray for dreams that guide me and tell me what I need to do to merit, this or that, or, what direction I need to be going in, or anything that I need to change or be aware of. Okay, so the subconscious influence that's affecting us now, it's time to take action. Take inspired action, yang energy. Follow your inner guidance. Wasting time will cause discontent, stagnation, and even chaos. Support from the universe. Divine timing meets preparedness. Catch the wave of magic. Yes, I'm feeling that right now. I'm feeling like this reset in Gemini and in Venus is like resetting our mindset, resetting our love cycles, resetting our creativity. Everything is getting us set up to start taking action in this new cycle from like a very clean mindset, from a very high vibrational mindset, and a very open and cleansed heart space. And so it's really time to take action. And so our subconscious, if we have been healing it and rewriting it, instead of trying to procrastinate or sabotage, it's going to start making us feel more urgency to take action. And it's not going to leave us alone. We're not going to feel settled until we do take action. Okay. So the lesson from the past that is beginning to clear up, but we still have a little bit of the effect of this, is you are abundant. And this other card had come up with it. Compromise, and what was this? Conflicting desire. So, okay. So these three cards came up together. You are abundant, compromise, and inner conflicting desire. So in the past, we have compromised what we really want and what we really desire and what we're really capable of because of inner conflicting desires and inner conflicting beliefs. We didn't think that we had enough or that we were enough. It was like fears of inadequacy had been holding us back, or fears of scarcity, right? Or that we didn't have what we needed, or that what we needed would be lost, right? So maybe we compromised with ourselves and we didn't go fully after what we thought we were capable of. Or we kind of gave a half effort, right? Because we didn't feel like we had enough resources, enough time, enough money, enough talent, enough this, enough opportunity, whatever it was. Something about an inner conflicting desire that conflicted with the idea that we are abundant, that we have everything that we need, was causing us to compromise. But I think that we're beginning to see all the ways that we had compromised because of some kind of underlying belief that we weren't abundant, that we were not enough, or that there was insecurity there or something. Anything that we'd compromised now is we're beginning to see where we have compromised, and now how can we make up for that? How can we change it? How can we do differently? Crowning us now, you veered off path. Did you lose focus? Getting focused. Have you gotten sidetracked? Did you make a wrong turn? Where do things feel off? So again, looking to see, okay, where have our inner conflicting desires and our cognitive dissonance prevented us from our full potential to be abundant and feel abundant and cause us to compromise? And where has that led us off path? Where are we feeling like out of alignment right now? Are we feeling like there's excess in any area that we need to clean up, right? Do we need to do any like behavioral purges or fasts, like anything like that? Are we distracted and maybe spread in too many different directions? But where are we not paying attention, and where do we need to hone in and like get serious? Now, this is what is coming around the corner, right around the corner. Don't say anything yet. Timing is not right. They won't be able to hear you yet. Their heart is not open. You may change your mind. Don't have all the information yet. So this could be something that you like want to approach someone about. Maybe you want to pitch something. Maybe you have an idea. Maybe something is bothering you and you're like, oh, I need to like fix this and I need to address this. But maybe that's just you uncomfortable with something that you need to sit with for a minute. And instead of having reactive behavior that can create chaos and unintended consequences, like restrict. Don't do anything yet. Don't say anything yet. If you are about to launch something, maybe you need a marketing plan, or maybe you need to think a little bit strategically about how you want to deliver your message before you start delivering your message. Like maybe you need to tweak some things to optimize your communication to be effective, to land on ears that need to hear it, to have your solution, right? But maybe there's just more you need to learn, and something that, you know, there's like more information that's coming out that you just don't know about yet. And that might affect what you think or the reason why you want to take an action or say something, right? So just don't say anything yet. There's more, you'll find out more in time about why. Okay, so the perception that we have that's affecting us right now is prosperity and abundance. So again, the like mindset of the scarcity mindset that we've been healing to try to adopt a mindset of abundance. And so usually in the position of the seventh card, it's the perception that's keeping us blocked and held back is usually the angle of that card. So if we don't have a prosperity mindset and an abundant mindset, then we're not going to attempt to do things that would yield more prosperity and abundance, because we don't think that we have what it takes, or that it's possible for us, or that it would work, or we don't have enough faith and we don't trust in that for us, right? So prosperity and abundance, you have plenty. Do something small to affirm your abundance to yourself. You have sneaky lack hiding in the shadows of your perceptions. Nip it in the bud before it causes problems. Okay, the next card will be the outer circumstances that are affecting us in this moment. Outer circumstances affecting us in this moment. This is tied to early childhood fear. So did you have issues in your early childhood connected to abundance and lack and security, right? How many of us had families with like young parents who didn't have their careers on point yet when we grew up? How many of us grew up with like a lot of financial uncertainty and financial trauma? Trauma is a spectrum, and so a financial trauma exists, and trauma can happen when your nervous system is overwhelmed and you're emotionally overwhelmed and you are beyond your faculties to handle the situation in the moment. And so it's a galvanizing and emotional situation that sends you into like a fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, where your nervous system feels legitimate threat to your well-being or survival. So did you ever grow up in a family that was like really worried about money, really worried about how you were going to make the mortgage, how you were going to, afford groceries? If you were in families like that, then do you struggle now with fears about like stretching yourself to buy a house? Or do you fear, making the mortgage? Do you have those same things that keep you small or stuck or fearful, now? right? All of this abundance and prosperity, all the blocks to this are tied to the seeds that were planted in early childhood. So it's the inner conflicting desire, that inner block is like the inner child that's trying to protect you or keep you safe, or that's still afraid and feeling insecure, financially insecure. Like that inner child is still growing up poor inside of you. And it doesn't feel secure or prosperous yet or abundant. And so this behavior is a direct result of childhood trauma. So the conditions that you find yourself in now are a result of childhood trauma. So in adulthood, lingering effects of childhood trauma can be limerence. It can be freezing that looks like the inability to like get things done. Like you sit down to do a task and it's like your mind won't focus, it won't concentrate, or like you're just not efficient, like you just can't get the task done. You might find that you're like always in a hurry, or that you are interrupting people a lot. But I strongly suggest, because this card came up and it's all tied to childhood trauma and fear, look up the crappy childhood fairy and see if you can watch a few of her videos and if anything is familiar. Like I stumbled upon her recently and I didn't realize how many of my tendencies and habits and general ways that I am were tied to low-level trauma responses that kicked in pretty much every time my nervous system becomes dysregulated. And your nervous system can be dysregulated like in a lot, like from a lot, depending on how, sensitive the triggers are. Anything could throw you into a little bit of dysregulation. And it's when you get into like one of those trauma responses and you get kind of stuck there, or you get stuck oscillating between the extremes of two, and you just can't get back to a regulated, normal, ability to have like process your nervous system. Okay, so this behavior is a direct result of childhood trauma. This is a defense mechanism connected to an event in childhood that made you feel threatened, abandoned, neglected, or not valued. You reach for this behavior in an attempt to comfort yourself. Okay, but this behavior is like blocking you. Okay, so the next card will be hopes and fears. Card will represent our hopes and fears. I feel like it's this one. Don't waste any more time. Don't hesitate. Don't delay. No more procrastinating. The time is right. Just go for it. Catch the wave. Act now. So yes, I feel that too. I feel like with that, it's time to take action in the subconscious position, that feeling of like, urgency, like I need to act now, I need to do something now. It's like the universe is like, yeah, don't waste any more time, don't procrastinate. Like you are getting through this next checkpoint of your own personal gauntlet, and you're grabbing this talisman by breaking your tendency to waste time in procrastination, in indecision, in freezing mode. So finding out more about that so that you can recognize those subtle patterns in yourself and in your behavior during the day. And you can find like what sets you into this pattern, right? And that you can help, change some things and support yourself there. Okay, so the final outcome is creative collaboration, deep sleep, and facing fears. So like minds capable of manifesting a common vision. So perhaps you have a like spiritual running buddy or creative friend, or maybe someone you're like that has like that you are literally going to be doing a creative collaboration with might be coming into the picture. Getting deep sleep, so quality rest, will help us rewrite the nervous system. Get in healthy sleep cycles, rest, make your bedroom sacred, new sheets. Your body and soul need healthy sleep, early to bed, early to rise. So getting all of these things done, creating more space in your day starts with getting a healthy sleep cycle. getting up early, going to bed early, and getting nice deep sleep. That way your soul can really go to the upper realms, get a good cleansing, get fully through its process and be regrounded. You can wake up refreshed and then hopefully have some insight from your dreams. And then because I think I learned somewhere recently in Kabbalah that if you go through for like a week without having a dream, that means that like you're so separate from the creator that you're not getting communication from God. So it means you need to like get back into your prayer practice and back into like, you know, daily connection, Bible study, Zohar study, whatever you do, Torah. And then facing fears is an action that we need to take. So facing the fear deactivates its power. We are mostly afraid of the unknown. Avoiding what you fear magnifies the illusion and distorts the truth. The fear can tell you something valuable about yourself and point out your most powerful area of expansion. Facing your fears makes you magnetic. So facing fears really does like make you more magnetic to draw in your manifestation. It's like when Mario like squashes one of the little bad guys and it's like all of a sudden Mario gets Super Mario and it's like that. All right, let's pull 4 tarot cards to sort of round out that reading and get our overall theme. Da-da-da. All right, this one's standing out. Ooh, High Priestess, really tuning inward, guidance from spirit, connection with our intuition. 8 of Swords reversed. So this is great. It's like feeling like the 8 of Swords, we feel stuck, we feel trapped, and it's like from overwhelm, from fears keeping us just like, we're just like frozen in fear and we feel trapped and we feel stuck and we're like buying into the illusion. And the 8 of Swords reversed is like, you're getting on the other side of it. Like you're starting to like rise above your fears, you're facing them. You're not feeling so stuck anymore. The Magician turned upside down next to that 8 of Swords upside down. It's like, it makes me feel like this is connected. It's like anywhere you felt blocked, like you don't have enough, like you're inadequate, like you're seeing through these blocks and these fears and you're moving past this now. Like the High Priestess is literally seeing and she's thinking about like all the ways that she has been frozen in fear and held herself back and feared that she was inadequate, like she didn't have what she needed to make everything happen. So yeah, definitely like taking our power back, reclaiming our power, going within, getting connected with source and guidance from Holy Spirit, feeling much more confident to go forward in our endeavors. And then the Devil card shows up here at the end. So remember, Saturn is connected to the Devil card. This is not always a bad or a negative card. This is Capricorn. This is Saturn energy. This is bringing things into the material. So if you want something to be brought into the material and last, it's like you've got to get over the hump and you've got to take action. You've got to practice discipline and restriction and like practice structure to get that done. At the same time, we want to see through the illusions of the opponent that would keep us feeling trapped, that would keep us feeling insecure, and that would keep us from like reaching our higher destiny because we feel weighed down or stuck or controlled by like the outer illusions, controlled by our reactive behaviors that keep us stuck in self-sabotage. All right. Let's grab a card from the Wisdom of the Angels Tarot. Angel Wisdom Tarot. Yeah, it's just standing out. Ooh, 5 of Swords. So be careful that you are not winning at all costs. Like you are like wanting to achieve or wanting to win at the expense even of others without thinking about how it affects other people. This is where the devil card will come in and play with that sense of urgency, where you're feeling like, oh, it's time to take action. Don't let that get out of control, where you're like, you let fear creep in and you're like, you know what, I have to make something happen no matter what, no matter who it affects and why. It's like whatever we do, we want to do it from that right consciousness, from the creator consciousness, from the consciousness of sharing, from the consciousness not of the body consciousness of wanting to receive instant gratification or wanting to receive for the self alone, but we're wanting to receive for the sake of sharing, for the sake of becoming a greater vessel of the light. So we want to receive what is actually meant for us and not what we're trying to take. Let me read the notes from the card. An unwise choice. There's a better way that will make you happier. Avoid people who lack integrity or who have questionable motives. So yeah, just pay attention to your motives and in your integrity and where your consciousness is when you take action, because that's what you're planting from. The energy is gaining momentum. So our Moonology card is waxing moon. The energy is gaining momentum. So very exciting. Jupiter is expanding all the themes of Gemini, and which is great, but it can also create like distraction in your mind and an even bigger tendency to wrestle with indecision or oscillating between extremes. So just try to watch out for that. Geminis often, as the twins, have these dueling sides of themselves that feel very opposite and very extreme. Okay, so our manifestation message for the next 2 weeks during the waxing cycle. What do we need to know that will behoove us to move our manifestations forward? Let yourself receive. Allow others to give you loving care. Receive without guilt or apologies. Yes, sometimes that is very difficult to do. And this is actually crowning the High Priestess energy. The High Priestess is that dark feminine energy that can sit in stillness and receive. We can't receive if we are always giving, sharing. It takes a balance. So we go into active mode and then we go into passive mode. Sharing mode, receiving mode. Active mode, rest mode. If we feel guilty about receiving or shame about receiving, that's a message to the universe that we don't believe that we are worthy of receiving and that we don't deserve. And so we're working on that sense of deserving and worthiness. Okay, what else do we need to know over the next couple of weeks that will help us? Our manifestations. Make a wish. This is a magical moment. Make a wish and enjoy its manifestation. So I would say pray out loud, like all through the day. Every time you remember, say your prayers out loud and declare to the Creator what you are naming and claiming, what you're calling in, and do it with gladness and gratitude. Recently, I've just been doing little things like remembering in random moments of the day to say things, like to talk about things that I'm grateful for out loud. And so that I don't overthink it, it's because it's got to really like spark a sense of like a feeling of gratitude. So it has to be things that are believable and that are easy for you. So it can even be little things that you love, like creature comforts or favorite things around the house, but things that really fill you with an easy sense of ease and gratitude. And you're like, oh, I love that. Just say it, start talking about it out loud. It doesn't have to be an important thing. It can range from deep things that you're grateful for to shallow, stupid things. It doesn't matter. But the feeling of gratitude is what's powerful. And declaring that gratitude to the Creator, it like gets you in this space of like opening you up to receive more and more and more. And so I've been manifesting the funniest, like specific things that I love this week. Like for instance, there has been a flood of like Mediterranean / Middle Eastern / Macedonian types of men in my scope. They were all over the park today. I had a table full of like Bulgarian, Macedonian dudes with like some American businessmen the other day. I was enjoying it a lot. But yeah, just like even small things like that where you're like, what? This is like signs of something happening. It's like signs of land, right? Little bits of green that are poking up. Synchronicity. Your prayers and questions are being answered by synchronistic events. Notice them in order to increase their flow. Like all the hot dudes coming through my path, I've been noticing them and they have increased in flow. It's so funny. But yeah, so back to the make a wish. You know, your prayers are being answered. Pay attention to the synchronicities that are sending you little like messages and arrows, you know, pointing you in the direction that you maybe need to go in. Okay, one more card for our manifestations. Ready, set, go. Now is the perfect moment to dive in and embrace your heart's desire. So with the exception of don't say anything yet, like maybe get your message clear, right? Be intentional with your message. Make it like optimized before you start putting it out there, right? To maybe make the most of it. But otherwise, like the universe is like, yeah, get going, get started. And maybe it's time to take action is first, get clear on your communication, get clear on what you want to say, clear on the message, and do whatever you need to do to get the information that you need there. Don't rush that until you know what you want to say, or what, you know, you've got clarity, and but don't waste time. Don't hold yourself back from taking other actions. Okay, so our love life, what do we need to know for our love life for the next 2 weeks? And so this is not only the next 2 weeks, it does kind of extend into the rest of the month, but the energy is going to be most potent to take action and be in that action mode during the next 2 weeks. So in regards to our love life, this is worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. So there are factors that you cannot control. I was just thinking this morning, I was sweeping the floor, and there's so much that goes on behind the scenes involving our tikkun, right? We're like correcting and healing and doing all of this soul work that's elevating us so that we merit maybe like a new day tomorrow, like a better script for tomorrow. So I was just thinking like, wow, I feel more relaxed than ever that like the romantic partner that is meant for me will come to me when I merit a really good partner. If I rush that process, then maybe I don't merit like a pure, like I don't get the relationship that I could get if I just waited a little bit longer and did the work, or let the person do the work. And we could start from a place where we have more probability of success. Does that make sense? So if you rush it, you could be eating sour grapes, so to speak. So definitely trust the timing and just know that whatever it is, it's worth waiting for. And there's nothing worse than being lonely out of a relationship. At least you have options, than being in a relationship and knowing it's the wrong one. That's the worst. Give your relationship a chance. Work on your partnership. So in this scenario, like if you are in, like we have new love cycles coming up. So if you're in a relationship that you want to be everlasting, it's just you're always going to go through cycles of needing to do certain types, making effort, right? But sometimes take more work than others. You know, this might be a time where you need to just decide within yourself to put the past behind you and make an effort to move forward anew, right? If you're like, I don't know if this is the right relationship, I don't know if I'm supposed to stay or go. I did learn in Kabbalah classes that if you go double down on the work that you are doing and then pray about this concern to the creator, and many times the situation will be resolved for you, like and things will happen and the decision will be made clear, or it will be worked out for you. This happened to me. In my last long-term relationship, I was going through a very difficult time with this, and I didn't know whether it was time to go or whether this was like an adult relationship where you just have to eventually decide to stick it out and stay with someone. And so I knew that if I didn't resolve the issues within myself within this relationship, and I thought that the answer was going to be another relationship that would solve my problems, then the same problems would be waiting for me in the next relationship. But if I could realize that I needed to do the work of myself within the relationship, and then it's not another relationship that's going to solve the problem, right? It's still like after the relationship was over, which he broke up with me, I didn't even have to do it. It was so weird. It was like once I knew that I was ready and I knew I was ready to face it and made that decision, it was like he just instinctually just broke up with me the next day. It was so crazy. And so it was the best thing ever. And so, and then after that, it's like doing the work to prepare yourself for a good partnership, right? And knowing that if you want a different relationship next time, it's like if you don't do the work or resolve the thing that relationship was supposed to teach you or grow your soul along, then that same lesson is going to have to play out in the next thing. So it's like you can't believe that the grass is going to be greener on the other side if you're not greener before you get there. Okay, all right. What else do we need to know about our love lives for the next couple of weeks? For this love cycle. Ooh, playfulness. Love this. Flirty. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. So back to that Venus and Gemini energy of getting back into your like playful, youthful like spirit. What brings your spirit alive? You know, what fills your heart with joy and love? Do you love gardening? Do you love cooking? Do you love nature walks? Do you love axe throwing? Well, you know, I love dancing. I want to take dance lessons. I still haven't done that yet. What is it for you that lights you up? This is going to make you more attractive and like do something for your energy that's going to be like an unspoken kind of magnetism that's going to be put out there. And lots of like a big chunk of cards here, but it's like, you know, letting go of control issues, staying optimistic, forgiving and learning, all of that. But let's just get one last card. We're working on our relationship skills. We are waiting, excuse me, for divine timing. Having fun in the process, connecting with joy and adventure and fun. And pleasure, like innocent pleasures, you know. And what else? Here we go. And this could be the one. So you've already met the romantic partner that you seek. So maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but you probably have met, if you do an inventory of all the people that have ever sparked your romantic fancy. What was it about those people? What qualities did they have that you felt would make a good partner for you? What made those people compatible? And you can take those best qualities of all of those people and make a note of those. And maybe you can even go back and look at their, you know, qualities that made them not compatible. And that can remind you that there's a lot involved when you consider compatibility and looking beyond chemistry. I think both are important, but chemistry, it doesn't mean anything without compatibility. So thinking about that in terms of when you consider, is this person the type of person that could be the one? You know, you never know that until you get to know someone, but you can start to narrow down criteria and shared values and, you know, boxes. Do they check these deal breakers and non-negotiables for me? Okay, so from Mother Mary, Jesus's mom, little motherly advice. She says, boundaries, that's the issue this month. I am clear and honest with others about my expectations. Now, again, this really ties in with facing fears, because so many times, especially if we have early childhood trauma, it can be very difficult to set boundaries because you feel enmeshed, you feel like emotionally responsible for everyone around you because you're afraid you're going to be abandoned and left for dead. So like it's difficult to set boundaries until you learn that you're secure and that you can take care of yourself, and that you're not going to be abandoned, and that you're not abandoning yourself. So you're going to set the boundary. If you don't set the boundary and you let weak boundaries stand and people cross those boundaries, then you are the very one that's abandoning yourself. So I am clear and honest with others about my expectations. Now, as far as magnetism goes, when we set those boundaries and we face those fears, that's very magnetic. That really opens us up for, like, it raises our vibration and gets us that much closer to our bigger and bigger manifestations that we want to call in. And last but not least, let's get some loving words from Jesus. I think season 4 of The Chosen started. I have not watched it yet because I am going back and rewatching all the previous seasons to get hype. Ooh, I've never pulled this card before. Very good. Give and it shall be given unto you. Oh my goodness, Luke 6:38. I love this artwork too. This depiction of Jesus in his white cloth cloak. So that goes back to the jealousy. It's like when we are jealous, like, okay, say you want a relationship and you keep seeing pictures of happy couples on Facebook and Instagram, and your initial response is, you know, like, get out of my face, like, and it makes you feel bitter that you don't have it, or it makes you feel lack. Bless those people. Instead of bemoaning what you don't have and casting evil eye on them, like coveting what they have, when you do that, when you cast that evil eye, when you covet and you want something that you don't have and you're like mad at someone because they have what you don't have, then you're sending this like destructive energy at them. And you're also, it's like coming back to you too. It's like you're putting this destructive energy around yourself and you're leaking out your surrounding light that draws in your blessings. So when to remedy this, to do the opposite, when you see someone that has something that you want, when you see these couples, or when you see someone that has the job that you want, or the success, the following, the publishing deal, whatever they have that you want, bless them and be happy for them and say something out loud like, oh my gosh, that's so great for them. I'm so happy. That expands me because now I see that that is possible in this world. That kind of relationship or that job or that person can do it, so can I, kind of thing. So bless them. Give and it shall be given unto you. If you need friendship, extend your hand in friendship, right? If you need encouragement, encourage others. You know, if you feel like you are dissatisfied and frustrated, maybe you need to give, you know, your hand in service to someone else and help them out. You know, maybe you have more than you can appreciate, and so maybe you need to give, you need to do an act of sharing. But give and it shall be given unto you. So whatever you feel scarcity and lack around, try to get your heart in a consciousness of abundance, and then give from that spirit of abundance and the spirit of certainty and trust that the Creator has your back. All right, y'all, happy new moon in Gemini. I hope you all make the most of this energy. Just try to focus that ADHD going on right now, and be also in a state of like awareness and presence with observing maybe low-level trauma responses that might be coming up for you. So look up the crappy childhood fairy. She's like got everything under the sun about childhood trauma as it manifests in adulthood, and this will show you like why you aren't getting things done, or why things seem to fall through, or it will help you understand the patterns that seem to have made you feel stuck or held back. All right, y'all, be good but not too good. Ciao.